Hey St. Louis fans, if you are ready for baseball and you're ready to win, you've got to see this interview I just did with Chaim Bloom, the new president of operations for the Cardinals. Go Cards. St. Louis expects a lot from the Cardinals, right? And I suspect you want to work into this, redo, rebuild, and ask for patience, I guess. And so how do you manage that tension?
We expect a lot too. We share that expectation. We want to get there badly. And I have confidence that we will. The reality is we are where we are, so we need to be strategic about how we do get there. And I think when you look at, certainly baseball, I think this is the case in most sports and probably most businesses, you have to be really focused on the right path to get somewhere that you want to go if you're not there. And if you try to run everywhere at once, you try to take too many shortcuts, that's usually when you get off track. That's usually where it takes longer than it should, because you tried to do things that you shouldn't and you just weren't smart and strategic about it. So our expectations are sky high. They should be. I mean, this is a baseball town. This is a historic franchise. That's where the expectations should be. We just have to recognize the reality of where we are and then what needs to happen for us to get where we want to be and where this organization should be.
How did you go from being a classics major to sounding like, what you just sounded like? Where did you learn all that? You certainly didn't learn it in the Odyssey.
No, definitely not. I do think I am a proponent of a liberal arts education. I think it's, all the things that I think get said about how that type of education teaches you how to learn, how to understand things, how to think. I believe in those things. At the same time, I knew when I was studying this stuff that it probably wasn't going to be the most linear path into baseball. For better or worse, I had decided that to get into this industry, which even then I did want to, it was going to take hustle and a little bit of luck, and it probably wasn't going to matter that much what I studied, so I might as well study something that was challenging and that I was passionate about. I don't know if that was a smart decision or not at the time. It worked out. There are certainly things I could have studied that I then later had to fill in the gaps on that might have been helpful. But I worked really hard for it, but I was also very fortunate. You have to be to get in this business. Probably most businesses are that way. You have to be in the right place at the right time at some point. You need people to take a chance on you. And then you have to be ready to make an incredible impression when they do. Make yourself indispensable. Work hard, leave no stone unturned. And so many people in baseball have some version of that story. And certainly there's a lot of people who do that they don't get those breaks and it doesn't work out. So I know I'm very fortunate to have gotten them.
Yeah. As you've studied the team and you've known a lot about the historic franchise, but what did you see that you said, this needs to change?
Yeah, it's a really good question because you want to be thoughtful when you come into a place, especially a place like this where there has been a long tradition of success. Irrespective of where we are right now, there has been a lot of success and a lot of it was very recent. So you're doing the organization a disservice, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't step back and say what's working and what can I learn from what has gone on here that, for so long as someone in this industry I've admired from the outside. So I was very mindful of that as well. To me, a lot of what we're trying to do right now is really more about getting back to our roots as an organization. And what that means is, I think this organization, when you look at it over the course of really the last century, this organization has probably moved things forward in the industry more than any other ball club. This organization has repeatedly and consistently set the standard for the rest of the industry. And that goes all the way back to the farm system literally having been invented in St. Louis by Branch Rickey and Sam Braden, and so many innovations over the years and so many ways in which the Cardinals set the tone for the industry, including very recently, including by people who I get to work with now, who overhauled the way that teams think about the draft, the way that they think about using analytical information to make baseball decisions. That all happened here. So when we think about change, to me, that's really more recommitting ourselves to the legacy of the organization, which is to constantly change, which is to constantly innovate. Yeah, you can look at the organization, it's been well documented. People can have all sorts of opinions on it, of areas where we might have fallen behind. That's just part of the game. If you're not constantly pushing yourself, you're not constantly changing and moving forward, that's what's going to happen. It's a zero-sum business where there's one trophy a year that we're all gunning for. But to me, this organization, more than any other, has really exemplified that constant change and innovation and setting that standard again and again. And so I view a lot of what we're doing as just rededicating ourselves to that and defining what that means in 2026 and then hopefully 2036 and 2046, because it's always changing.
Right. So why is it important to bring back Yadier at this point in time? We've all been waiting for it and hoping for it, but like why and why now?
Well, I think it was just a good fit for where we are and where he is. Obviously, this guy's one of the greatest catchers of all time. And we're fortunate that he spent his whole career wearing this uniform. And so for him now to be at a point where he is able to contribute to the organization in a different way, certainly there are going to be many ways that we can leverage that in uniform and out of uniform. And we're happy that it lines up for him to, get his feet wet in this new phase of his career. Obviously, family is important to him as well. And, he had a little bit of a well-deserved break after getting off the field. But he's ready to come get back to the organization, and we're really excited to be able to leverage him. People
get attached to homegrown talent, people who grew up in St. Louis. How does that reality shape any of your decisions, if at all?
I think it's really consistent with what we're trying to do in terms of building a core that is going to be primarily homegrown, that is going to carry us back to the postseason and that we can build around to try to be in the postseason every year and then win championships. That's how this organization always wins. And, certainly within that, any organization that does that, as the Cardinals have over a period of time, there are always going to be tough decisions. Not everybody is going to stay here for their careers or be a part of that forever. That's always been the case for as long as all these people we talked about, back to Branch Rickey, probably especially Branch Rickey, who coined the phrase, better to trade a player a year too early than a year too late, right? Like there's always going to be those tough decisions. But at the same time, the Cardinals have always won through homegrown players. And it's actually been a model that, frankly, the rest of baseball has copied. So we want to lean right into that. We recognize we're not there right now with a sufficient core to win on an annual basis. So we need to take the necessary steps to get back there.
How do your Jewish values and the things that you learn growing up in leadership and discipline, how does that show up in your leadership?
When you talk about the impact I had on the game, that sounds pretty lofty, and frankly, I want to keep my feet on the ground a little more than that. Like I said, we're all just passing through this game. To me, the impact that matters is the impact that you have on other people and the impact that you have on the communities where you work. First and foremost, obviously, the biggest way to have that impact and the number one expectation that this community has of me and our baseball operations group is to deliver a winner and to deliver championships. And I certainly want that to be part of what I can look back on my career and say I was a part of accomplishing. At a more kind of ground level, I want that the impact on the people that I got to work with to be such that they look back and say that they enjoyed working with me and that I helped them get better. And that doesn't always mean pats on the back and smiles. Sometimes it can mean tough feedback or candor that's delivered with care. Those all matter. But at the end of the day, I think there's two things. You want to feel like you did. You want to feel like you won and you helped contribute to winning. And then also that you made the people around you better and you made an impact, a positive impact on those people.
Right. Is there something that I didn't ask you that you want people to know?
At the end of the day, what this organization stands for, everybody in baseball understands the tradition, again, the sort of standard bearing that this organization has done over the years and the winning that's been done. And that's all I'm excited to have the chance to write the next chapters in that and to uphold that legacy and carry that standard forward. At the same time, the best thing about this game is always a people business. It always has been, it always will be. For as much information as we have and leverage and sometimes get buried under, it's always a people business. And one of the biggest motivators for me is the chance to get up every day, like I said, do something great, stuff I just talked about, to win here, to get this team back where it needs to be and keep it there with great people that I'm invested in. And that's first and foremost for me every day.